Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Black Eel Podcast. I'm depressed because of what our topics are going to be today. Hope you're prepared. Spoilers ahead. So we're gonna. I tried so hard to keep a straight face. I'm sorry. So we're gonna be talking about some major stuff today. One, we're actually going to start off with the Bad Batch today, which is very odd for us. I'm not going to lie. But the reason why we're doing that has to do with the fact of just everything else that's going on. Marvel is basically running the internet right now, at least for the past couple of weeks, for sure. I mean, I would argue for the last couple of months personally, but definitely more so recently than anything else. So after we talk about the Bad Batch, we're going to be talking about the actual trailer of Deadpool and Wolverine. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to break down, and everything else. And then we have the latest episode of X-Men 97, which is episode 7, correct?
Yes.
Yes. A lot happened. We were revealed a lot of things in this episode, and Mike has a theory on where this series might lead us. So let's get right into the Bad Batch. Michael, how did you feel about it?
It was a good episode.
Can I say one thing? I'll say this, right? I know I asked your opinion, and I'm stopping you because that's what I typically do all the time.
like just one word out of my mouth, and then okay, let me argue with you.
Let me just automatically stop you. All joking aside, this is an actual legitimate question. Do you feel like the Bad Batch is being overshadowed by the other show, by basically X-Men 97?
Well, if you're talking about like quality of the episodes, I mean, they're both putting out quality episodes. Like neither show has given us a bad episode. The thing is that X-Men is going literally balls to the walls each episode. So it's like Bad Batch, like say like Bad Batch is like over here, X-Men is like up here. So it's like Bad Batch is telling a different story, whereas X-Men is trying to recapture what people had back in the day and
build upon it.
Build on it. Whereas, Bad Batch is, again, telling a whole different story. So you can't really compare the two. I mean, if you want to, like I said, if you're looking at the episode quality, as in like I said, balls to the wall versus telling a wholehearted story, which I'm not saying X-Men isn't doing, but again, different story. Where like Bad Batch is trying to connect us into an overarching story, whereas X-Men is like continuing in their own story.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I don't know. For me, it's one of those things where I have to watch the Bad Batch first.
Right now, yeah.
Like seriously, right now, like it's one of those things where it's like I can't start with X-Men just because I don't know what we're getting.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I watch X-Men and it's like if it was like this episode or 2 episodes ago, like I'm not watching the Bad Batch. I'm taking a week. Like,
no, I mean like there. I mean definitely.
And it's not that it's bad. It's not that it's. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just stating like I feel like X-Men. I don't know. I feel like the X-Men show right now, and maybe it's because it needs to push harder. I don't know. Like meaning like X-Men feels like it needs to push harder, where Bad Batch doesn't because it's already gotten like 3. This is like its 3rd and final season, so it's like very different places in time.
Mm-hmm.
But like it just one's like. One, I'm like, ooh, I can't wait for the episode, and the other one's like, what is this episode? But anyway,
like,
so I apologize.
So like Bad Batch is trying to get us to the end, whereas X-Men is like the entire show is a ride. So Bad Batch I'm looking forward to next week because I expect next week to be a immensely packed episode.
I'm also expecting it to be longer.
I'm wondering if it will be too because the way
because their series premiere was an hour. Like the very first episode, I think was like it would have been like two or 3 episodes combined.
Oh wait, the series premiere or season?
Series, not season. Series.
Okay. I don't remember back.
The very first episode ever, I believe was. It might. You know what? Now that I say it, it might be like 49 minutes. Now that I think about it, I think it was like 2 episodes like combined, but they put it as one.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So
Let me see. I can.
this episode was basically, well, it begins right where the last episode left off. Really, Omega's still in prison. She's trying to figure out her escape. Was I
Oh,
accurate?
okay. Hold on. Yeah. So you were
I'm sorry.
accurate, but yet also inaccurate. Um, the very first episode of the Bad Batch was 1 hour and 15 minutes.
So I was right that it was longer. I was just wrong with the number.
Yes,
Okay.
it was much longer
So
than you thought.
no, it is. But you ended. Well, I didn't want to highball it
Yeah,
because with
yeah.
my luck, I would have said an hour and a half, and I would have been. Then you would have been like, "Oh, you're 15 minutes off."
Still were.
I mean, you're right. Anyway, well, the difference is it's longer, so it makes us feel better. My whole thing was, I'm thinking it's got to be something similar. I'm
Yeah,
not saying it's going to be a full hour. I'm saying like I'm thinking minimum, it's going to be like 45 minutes
yeah.
minimum.
There's still a lot of story to tell. Oh, you okay over there? You got an earthquake?
I mean, yes. No, not actually. I accidentally kicked the table I'm on. So anyway, this episode was like, I wouldn't even. I'm hesitant to say like it's basically doing the same format that it has been for the last couple of episodes.
Yep.
It's Omega's story, and then it's been the Bad Batch's story.
Hmm.
Omega's story, I think, is the quickest one to go through. I mean, realistically, it's her trying to figure out how to escape. And she goes through the tunnel. I'm sorry, not the tunnel. She basically goes through what's called a dumbwaiter, but in the spaceship, and she goes through the passage system, tunnel system, whatever you want to call it, and she finds a location that I need Mike's help on. So she finds this thing where they're basically trying to control creatures. That I understand, with what looks like ion blast, but I could be wrong on the beam. But it's some sort of beam, right?
Hmm.
And it's a water creature. Do we know this water creature?
I think we saw it before. Yeah.
Okay, because it's not ringing a bell for me. So I looked at it and was like, I should know this. Like they're making it seem like I should know it, and I don't.
Yeah, no, I'm almost positive we've seen it before. I was meaning to look it up because I honestly knew you were going to ask me this, and I just didn't have the time. And when I thought of it, I forgot. Um, but
No, and here's the thing. That's perfectly fine. I just was curious because it's not. It couldn't be something that was major, or else it would have been like you would have obviously been like, oh, I know.
mhm.
So I feel like it was something. It was probably in like the background, or wasn't a big piece of one of the stories at one point, and now it's like, ooh, look at this. So I'm assuming Omega's plan is somehow break into there and use those creatures to escape.
Yeah,
Is kind of what I'm thinking. But I don't. She's very mysterious in these last couple of episodes, where she's insinuating a lot of things without saying a lot, and it's very difficult to figure out what her plan is. But the plan is basically they figured out that they're definitely going to escape, and she has a plan, and that's how her story ends, basically.
yep.
So then let's talk about the Bad Batch. The Bad Batch has been split up into two groups, and I'm hesitant to even call them groups. It's basically everyone in Echo, quite literally, actually. So,
Yeah.
no, I'm not wrong, unfortunately.
Nope. No, you were not.
So, there, Hunter, Wrecker, Crosshairs, and Rampart are in the shuttle. Echo is hiding on the ship. Once they get out of hyperspace, they remove themselves from the main ship. And apparently, the head scientist is like, oh, I heard that the Bad Batch was over there. Well, guess what? I don't trust them to not come here, so I'm going to send a bunch of basic TIE fighters out there and take, although they're not TIE fighters, they were just some sort of aerial assault team, right?
Hmm.
And they go after the Bad Batch and they get sniped. They get taken out pretty easily. Now, when I say easily, they did take out a few of them and all that stuff, but this ship was taking a lot of damage. And they basically had to come up with an escape plan, which was not something Rampart wanted to hear. Which apparently what they were going to do was fly over the trees, drop down on cables, and then hit a tree and fall down. Was basically their plan. Rampart gets stuck. Hunter shoots it down. He gets down. The four of them are sort of separated, so it's two and two. They eventually team back up, and they're trying to make it over a mountain. And Rampart takes a relaxing sit on what he thinks is a rock, and it turns out to be a massive lizard bear. Is the best way to describe it.
Yeah, that was the thing that was chasing them at. Remember when the season opened?
Yeah, but I don't think I got a good look of it the first time. To be honest with you, I think this was a
When
much closer and detailed look.
no, this was the this. I mean, this definitely was the better look that we got because it was a full rampage. But when they escaped, they ran into the creature as well.
No, you're right. I didn't. I don't think I knew it was a a bear. You know what I'm saying? Like we just saw it as a big creature in the beginning.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter.
Speaking of big creatures, just so you know, the creature that she saw, uh, it's a Zillow beast,
Oh, okay.
and we did see it before.
And where did we see it before?
Um, she ran into it before, but when she was caretaking, I believe. But we've seen it in past Star Wars iterations as well.
Okay.
Oh, um, it was the creature that was feeding on the electricity.
Oh, that's what that is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. 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 Perfect.
There you go. So back to your other creature.
Yeah. So
Um,
we have the bear creature basically try to attack the Bad Batch. Rampart wants them to shoot it. They're refusing because they don't want to let the stormtroopers know that they're there. So they start to fight this creature and then begin to run away. Rampart makes a lot of noise, screaming like a little girl. And stormtroopers hear the noise, run after, see the Bad Batch, not Rampart, which confuses me. But then again, they can't shoot the broadside of the Death Star, so how the heck can they figure out where a sound's coming from? So they begin to
Helmet's Echo Man.
they begin to open fire. They begin to open fire on the Bad Batch, and then the creature comes and starts taking out the stormtroopers left and right. The Bad Batch escapes enough to be like avoiding the creature and the stormtroopers. And Rampart trips and falls right in front of stormtroopers, and I'm assuming is captured, but we don't know because that was the end of that story.
Mm-hmm.
Then Echo, my friend. Oh, wait, did you have something to say before we get to Echo?
No, no, that was honestly, it's funny with seeing Rampart interact with the Bad Batch because
It's
it
oddly satisfying.
yeah, like it's just like they're it's goofy and it's interesting because it seems like Rampart is actually somewhat trying to help and trying to like he's looking out for his own skin, obviously, but like he's not trying to sabotage them. He's like, listen, this is stupid. Get out of here.
No, I agree with you. It's definitely interesting because it's like he's not doing what I would expect him to do,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, he's really not that helpful.
No, no,
So it's like,
no.
but I don't think he's being unhelpful on purpose necessarily.
Screaming like
I
a little
know,
girl.
like I mean, like you know what I'm saying. Like I just feel like he's. I don't think he's like purposely like messing up.
No, yeah, obviously. I
I
mean,
think he's just
he
messing
jumps out
up.
of a plane and gets stuck in a tree. Totally his fault.
Exactly my point. So yeah, so that happens. So then we have Echo, right? So he's on the main ship. He had to take out a stormtrooper. He stunned him. They begin. He begins to try to get more information about what's going on. He then takes the stormtrooper's armor, and he at least this time they finally acknowledge it. For goodness sakes, his little his little thing.
His
Um,
nub.
basically his nub, right? And they pointed out in this episode, thankfully, after so many, and realizing, oh, this will be a problem. No shit. So we then have him take out a droid and then uses the droid's hand as his hand, which at least looked normal. Like at least enough to blend in with the stormtroopers.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously, if somebody got close, they'd probably see that it was probably a droid's hand. But realistically, at least it looks like who's going to pay attention to a stormtrooper that much?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like he's got a good point there, right? So then he continues to look for the information he has, and then he sneaks off the ship. He then sneaks into the main facility and begins to look around. Um, he bumps into none other than Emery.
Dr. Carr.
Um, I'm sorry,
Dr. Carr.
Emery Carr,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, "Oh, I was just doing diagnostics on the thing," and she's like, "Eka," and he's like, "Who are you?" And she's like, "I'm Emery. Omega talked about me. I talked about you." And he's like, "Yeah, she talked about you too." And they begin to talk to each other. And their plan is, and it's a very good plan in the sense that it's stupid. Um, Emery's like, "You can only get her from the vault, and you can't get anywhere close to the vault without my help." And he's like, "Are we serious right now?" And she's like, "Yeah." And then that's how that ends. And that's not even false.
And that's when he learns that there are other kids, not just Omega.
Oh, sorry. Yes, he does realize that.
And then we see that Emery does really want to help, which is, we've known that, like, she's been trying to look
We,
out for her and whatnot, but obviously,
I
like you
think
said, never got the opportunity to.
I think the big thing is she learned from Nala Say a little bit in the sense of you do what you're supposed to do until you have the opportunity to not anymore.
Yeah.
And I think Emery's doing it well. The difference being the fact that I don't want to phrase this. She's doing it better, or I can't say she's doing it better. Let me rephrase it. She's doing it well, but because she's not trusted as much as Nala Say was, it comes off as not being supportive. I guess is the best way to put it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Overall, I
Um,
thought the episode was good. I mean, I definitely like the interactions with people. Like you said, the interactions with the Bad Batch and Rampart was chef's kiss. And
I
then the
liked.
interaction with Emery and Echo was also good as well.
No, that was good. I liked also, like, even though the Empire took precautions to make sure that that Tantus was never found, they still had precautions in case it was, where they knew the Bad Batch was coming. They knew that Bad Batch was with Rampart, so they knew that they were gonna eventually find the location. So as soon as they sensed and something was out of whack, they're like, okay, full blown arms. Anyone that comes near is going down, getting killed, whatever.
Agreed.
Um, I just like, it's nice seeing the preparation that you don't normally see. Like we said in the last episode, it's like, oh, the Empire is just stupid, doing the same things and never taking, planning ahead and whatnot.
Other than Thrawn, this is the first time we've seen anybody be competent in the Empire.
Yeah.
Which I think I do like. Like I think it was actually refreshing a little bit
Hmm.
because it was somebody. It wasn't for the first time in a long time. Somebody was literally legitimately like, "Oh, they were there. Well, then they must be on their way." Like not even like, "Oh, there's no way they could figure it out." No, no. If they got there, then they probably got a good chance of being where they need to be. So
Hmm.
let's ramp up security, lock it down, blow anything up that we see. Standard procedure. Standard procedure. I did like it. Like I said, I didn't hate the episode at all. I thought it was good. I think this was a big lead up to obviously the series finale. But I also like that it's really showing Omega being a leader.
Hmm.
And I know she's been kind of hinting this more and more as time goes on a little bit, but like we're really seeing it right in the forefront right now.
Yeah, no, she takes charge. She's protecting the kids. She's planner. We've known this for a long time. She's a planner. She's planning, figuring out how to what next steps to take. Um, it's nice finally seeing everything come together.
Agreed. Anything else you'd like to add about the Bad Batch before we move on to the next thing?
No, let's hop into that trailer. That's next.
Yes, you're correct. So we obviously last week just missed the trailer. We got to see the teaser trailer to the trailer, but we did not get to see the trailer at the time. Well, we got to see the trailer, and I saw some major things that we definitely need to talk about. So basically, it gives us a better idea of what Wolverine this is. And what I mean by that is this is a Wolverine whose world has been destroyed, and it was supposedly his fault.
Mm-hmm. This is
I say
a
it that
yep, yep.
I
Go
was
ahead.
going to say I say it that way because that's how they're alluding to it. That does not mean he actually like destroyed everybody,
No,
or he
the way that they alluded in the trailer is that the his teammates, we can't just say the X-Men because his teammates, whoever he was with,
correct.
needed him and he wasn't there for them. Whether whether whatever the reasoning was, taken out, just like he was afraid, so he never showed up. What was distracted, whatever. Him not being there led to his team losing and the planet
And dying
dying.
basically. Well, the weird thing is, it sounds like he's in the void, Wolverine. So I don't know. It's weird. Like there's we learned a lot, but also not at the same time. It's a weird concept what trailers do to us. Like
Yeah,
we
yeah.
learn a lot of information, and then at the same time, we really don't know much of anything.
We're just getting little
Um,
hints. So they're like they're
we're getting enough. We're getting enough.
throwing little snippets at us, being like, okay, this is a taste of what's coming. Take it with it as you will.
Yeah, I think the big thing too is just the fact of like Deadpool's looking for Wolverine. Well, I shouldn't say that. I think he sees the guy, sees that it's Wolverine, gets excited, and is like, "Ooh, I need him on my team." And this guy is just like, "No, I failed everything." And like, obviously, we have like like kind of like a jab at Logan a little bit, the movie where he this version of Wolverine has trouble getting his claws out, and obviously Deadpool makes jokes, erectile dysfunction jokes to be exact.
Mm.
Um, and so we have that right, and then they begin to like help each other out in a lot of blood, by the way, in this trailer. A lot of blood.
Oh yeah, this is
More
going to be
blood than
a
I was.
violent movie.
Well, here's the thing. I wasn't surprised that there's going to be a lot of blood. I was more surprised that there was a lot of blood in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
We get to see a fight between Logan and Wolverine and Deadpool, which I thought was kind of cool. Granted, it was obviously we didn't get to see the full fight or anything else, but it was enough to get me excited. We saw a lot of cameos in this. A lot of cameos. Do you know everyone we saw, Michael?
I do not know everybody.
All right, who do you know?
I know that one of them is Xavier's sister.
Okay, so here we're gonna stop there. Cassandra Nova. Okay,
Yep.
in the comics, she's the evil twin of Charles Xavier. Apparently, Charles Xavier killed her in the womb. This is not an exaggeration. This is actual comics.
Okay.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
he killed her in the womb, and because he used his psychic ability to do so, supposedly, she was able to gain some of that psychic ability and transfer her consciousness into another body. Marvel.
Hmm. Okay.
I'm hoping what they do instead is make this a variant of Charles Xavier.
That's kind of like what I was thinking.
So in the comics, it's Evil Twin, which comics fine, but I think for this it'd be more entertaining for it to be just a variant.
I was hoping when I saw when I saw it was his sister. I was at first I was because when I first saw him I was like, oh, is this maybe a female Xavier and whatnot, which I mean basically
Which you're not
is.
wrong.
I like the idea of it being a variant instead of that, just because of
Well,
the whole situation that we're in with the multiverse right now.
well, especially because we have the female Loki. You know what I mean? So it wouldn't be all that far fetched to have a gender swap
Yeah,
either.
yeah.
So nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But she's evil. Um, or at least for sure in the comics she's evil. I'm assuming she's evil in this.
I would assume
Um,
so as well.
I'm only saying it that way because I've had many a plot twists in my life. So I'm saying I'm assuming because
Yep.
until I see it, I don't know for sure. But we got to see her play Puppet Master with Wolverine, which was kind of fun. Um, so she's a very powerful telepath, manipulating people to do what she wants. And her fortress, Michael, do you know where her fortress is?
I do
It's
not.
in the void, but it's specifically in somebody.
Oh, Ant-Man.
Yes. So I'm very curious if that's Scott Lang or if it's Hank Pym.
So is that like for the suit to be like that? Does is that basically confirming that they killed an Ant-Man?
And Ant-Man is dead, yes.
So it can't just be like, oh, they just lost the suit kind of thing.
No, because there's a body in it.
Oh, there was.
Oh yeah, yeah. Did you not see the helmet pop up? Oh no, it's a dead body. No, no, no.
I mean,
There's
I
a
saw
dead
the
body.
helmet opening up,
Oh no,
whatnot. I
no,
just
no, no. It's a dead body. No, it's. I will say this. It looks like it's mummified, personally.
okay, that's good.
Um, but no, it's a dead body. I mean, I can't tell you who it was, meaning like who was in the suit,
hmm
but whoever's in it or was in it, dead.
So I don't know if you. So in that scene when she's coming out of the Ant Man head, um, there is a screenshot that people got of what's her name, and there's a wheelchair behind her.
I did not see that.
Yeah, I saw.
What I
I
saw
forgot.
was that same scene had a lot of X-Men characters in front of the dead Ant-Man.
Oh, did it?
It had the only two that. All right, so I'll tell you. Supposedly, the internet is saying each character is from the X-Men trilogy.
hmm
Um, and well, the X-Men. Sorry, universe, I should say, because we have the red teleporting guy from X-Men First Class that teams up with Magneto.
Okay.
He's in the front, along with Lady Deathstrike, supposedly from X2.
hmm
Okay, and then the further you get back, it gets blurrier and blurrier, but everyone has their thoughts.
Of
So
course.
it looks like we have um, the three mutants from X Men Last Stand that teamed up with Magneto, the one with the tattoos.
Oh, okay, okay.
They're supposedly there, along with I think there's one more, but anyway, the only ones that I could 100% see were the red guy that teleports. Right, he looked a lot like him, and I don't think it's the same actor necessarily, but it's definitely the same character.
Yeah.
And then what looks like Lady Deathstrike from X2. The others were kind of speculation, because it wasn't clear. It wasn't a clear picture. Although I will say, silhouette wise, it does kind of look like them. And Toad. That was the other one. Toad.
So there's also a rumor, not rumor, but Marvel has stated, I guess, that they would like to get Jennifer Lawrence back to play Mystique in the MCU. And obviously that's getting people causing a discourse that people want the original Mystique actress coming back and
Let's have
playing her as
both.
well. Which, like I said, they could have both, and obviously it doesn't hurt to have an older Mystique as well.
Hmm?
Um, there's endless
If
possibilities.
there's such a thing. Um, so first off, the trailer looks amazing. I'll say
Oh,
that.
it gave us a Deadpool movie with Wolverine that we needed without us knowing we needed it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like
Um,
that's exactly what you expect out of this. It's like
Honestly, and I'm hesitant to say this, but this is everything we want. Meaning, like, we want Deadpool, we want Wolverine, and we want realistically, basically Loki, but obviously just the TVA. But like, we're getting everything we want, so we're getting variants up the butt, right? And I'm very excited.
yeah, no, they've said that this is going to be there's going to be so many cameos in this movie, so that'll be
And
fun.
it makes sense that they would have the cameos in this movie
hmm
and potentially be the end. And then the rumor is, so remember when we see Deadpool and Wolverine jump into a portal?
Yep.
The idea is supposedly, and again, we don't know this for a fact, but we purposely don't see where the portal goes for obvious reasons.
Yep.
The thought is that might be the end of the movie, or like where they join the MCU officially, like the main universe, 616.
Okay. So like it's jumping into their world.
Well, it's jumping into like our
Our
universe.
main universe.
Yes.
Okay.
Um, and obviously that looks like Doctor Strange
hmm Yep.
doing it. But we'll have to wait and see. I'm curious about it. I mean, for sure. I mean, without a doubt, I'm watching it without a question or anything else. If even if we weren't doing this, I'd be watching it. I mean, that should be obvious.
Yeah.
This is by far, I think, the most anticipated movie of the year
Oh yeah.
for
No, this
Marvel
is
for
th-
sure.
this is this
This
is
is
this
the
is
movie.
this is the movie of the year. Absolutely. For
Um,
superhero movies.
yeah, I'm super excited about it. I'm very much curious about what's going to be happening in it. Um, and yeah, I mean, I really have nothing else because that was pretty much it. I mean, it was a lot of great stuff, but I mean, oh, we also got to see Elias's head
Did we? Really?
in the trailer. Yeah,
I didn't catch that.
yeah, it looks more dragon-like than in Loki.
Oh.
Obviously, he's Cloud. He's Clouds, obviously, but I mean, like in this trailer, he looked more dragon than Clouds. Um, as he was riding by, I guess you would say.
Oh, okay. I have to rewatch the trailer again, to be honest. So good.
And the dead Ant Man is very much into the comics because apparently somebody was using Ant Man's body as a base as well. Basically, it was in the void as well, which is why I'm assuming they're in the void. Um, I think most of this is going to take place in the void with
Mhm.
obvious cameos in multiple universes um, or timelines, I guess you would say. I don't know how you want to describe it, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Branches, I don't know. My point I'm making is, I'm so stupid. We actually got to see Dogpool. So there's going to be multiple Deadpools we see, and we finally saw the first variant of Deadpool, which is Dead Pool Dog, Dog Pool.
That's funny. I'm just so looking.
And
I'm just so
did you hear
looking
about the
forward to
rumor?
this. Huh?
So there's a variant of a female Deadpool, and not Gwenpool, female Deadpool. And do you know who's rumored to play it?
No.
Player Ryan Reynolds' wife.
Oh, that'll be nice.
That will well because the way the two of them go back and forth on Twitter, or I'm sorry, X.
Better.
Um, they will be hilarious together.
No, they got that'll be good.
I mean,
He-
obviously we got Wolverine too, but well, Hugh Jackman, but I mean, like it's gonna be really good.
No, yeah, this is gonna be a great movie. Looking forward to it. I'm
100%.
looking forward to more trailers that are gonna give more info on it and whatnot.
I think there's only gonna be one more trailer.
When it comes out in July, we got
There's
two
gonna
months.
I think, and then we've discussed this. They're gonna have one more trailer, and then they'll have an extended trailer right before the release.
Yeah, yeah,
So
I can
like
see
they'll
that.
add like another 2 minute trailer, and then they'll add another 10 seconds of extra footage,
Hmm. Yeah, or it's just gonna be another trailer with the same stuff, just scrambled kind of thing.
or like the combining the two trailers together but mixing it up.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anything else you'd like to discuss about Deadpool and Wolverine coming out this July, or is it
No,
June?
the only thing is that's gonna be kind of on this is also in connection with X-Men '97.
Which is
So
what I asked you to talk about, which didn't get to it.
you said
Why
that
do you
you
think there's
wanted
a connection?
you said you wanted to talk about X-Men '97 first, so that's why I was holding off. All right. So the
All right.
rumor is that this that X-Men '97 is coming to a close, so close to when Deadpool and Wolverine are supposed to be coming out. The theory going around right now is that the Wolverine in X-Men '97 is the same Wolverine that will be in Deadpool and Wolverine. So we're
The
thinking that,
costume, the
oh,
costume is accurate.
yep, it is a costume accurate. It is possible that with what we've seen the last few episodes with all the death of the mutants, that this Wolverine was MIA in '97, and now Deadpool has gone to seek him out in the movie. So we're bringing possibly a animated character to the big screen.
So I agree with you. what I think's going to happen is that it will be a version of this Wolverine,
Mhm.
of the animated version Wolverine, but it won't. It could, because I feel like the timeline's going to change in '97 a little bit,
Mhm.
where so we can have more seasons and stuff. But I feel like that Logan's going to be one of those versions
It's possible. I mean, what?
because we've already had the universe, the timeline be wiped in the animated series at least 5 times, I believe. Four
Yeah, it's
times.
happened. Bishop's gone back twice. Cable went back.
Cable's gone back twice,
Yep. Um,
and then we had the weird one where Storm and oh no, that was Bishop again.
yeah, that was Bishop. I mean,
I
in
feel like there
this
was a
in this
maybe
season,
they didn't, maybe it wasn't 5, maybe it was 4.
I mean, I guess technically, I'm going to say this is a new timeline with this movie because of the fact that they've got. I mean, I don't know. I feel like they might have changed it a little bit with Cable coming back once again.
Also true. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we still have 3 more episodes of X-Men '97.
Which I
So,
so let's get right into X-Men '97, Michael. We got a look at the extended animated universe.
mhm.
We now know that there is a Incredible Hulk in this universe, and we know that there is a Captain America.
Yep. Was that the general? Was that the one that is what's his name? Um,
Betty Ross's father.
yeah, this that was him.
That yeah, that's basically that's the now Harrison Ford.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I figured, but obviously just wanted to make sure.
So this episode starts, if I remember correctly, with the funeral of Gambit, which I was not happy with, because I was sad, because people were dead. But we got to see a callback to a lot of people we saw when we were in Louisiana, with the Thief Guild and the Warrior Guild, or the no Hunter Guild.
Yeah, the
Oh
hunters
no, the
and
assassin. It was assassins and thieves. It was the assassin
yeah,
guild
yep, yep.
and the thief guild. So we got to see a bunch of them at Remy's funeral. But there was one person who was missing. And Michael, who was that?
Miss Lover Rogue.
Yes. But Nightcrawler got to do the eulogy, which was so good.
He did a good job.
I was very impressed. All of it was really good. But I got a question for you. When we jump to the next scene of like after Nightcrawler says, "Oh, she's dealing with a lot right now, and hopefully she doesn't go to the dark side." When we saw her, right, in that next scene,
Hmm.
where did you think she was? Because I'll tell you where I thought she was, and I was very wrong.
I just honestly, when I saw it, we're like, are you talking about like this like before she got to the base, or you? Like,
I'm talking about when you saw her doing her business, right, smashing things,
mhm.
right? Where did you think she was?
I didn't really think she was anywhere. I was just,
I thought she was in the danger room, letting off some steam.
oh, okay,
So it wasn't until we see the military men in the base was when I realized, oh, because I was thinking very similar to like when Wolverine went
hmm,
into the danger room during the one of the many
yeah,
Jean Grey and Cyclops' weddings.
yeah. No,
So
I didn't think it was the danger room. I thought it was legit. I thought it was legit. I thought she was just flying around blowing steam because obviously she's upset until we encountered the military, and then I was like, oh, she's going crazy. Um,
yeah, Rogue's going rogue,
yeah,
and I know Rogue is very powerful, and I will never question that whatsoever. But just like all the other mutants in this, we're now seeing how powerful they actually are in this universe, and she is physically more powerful than I was thinking.
I mean,
I know her
according,
power is amazing, don't get me wrong. That's never been a question. I'm talking about her physical capabilities
yep.
were far greater than I expected in this episode.
Well,
And I love the anime kick.
I mean, they already insinuated how powerful she is because they said the base is meant to hold off the Hulk.
and
So
then she comes plowing through the top.
yeah, so she's already more powerful than the Hulk, which is saying a lot. I mean,
Well,
we
and
don't know
also
the
the argument would be too, like they say it's built for the Hulk, but that doesn't mean it's been tested by the Hulk either.
also true. I mean, the other alternative too is that this universe's Hulk is just not that strong either.
Which could be.
So
Well, he might not have gotten angry enough. Um,
true.
the other thing too is her using her powers to gather information.
Oh
Loved it.
yeah, really messed up.
Like, I'm not telling you anything. Oh, sugar, I'll get it anyway.
You don't have to say a word.
So she's looking for the creator of Master Mold.
hmm
And to do that, she's trying to find, is it Trife, the other guy?
Yeah,
Okay. Because I keep mixing them up. I'm afraid that it's Dr. Trife, and I don't think it is. But
that doesn't sound right.
I'm not look. We're not. She's not looking for the scientist right away. She's looking for the other guy,
hmm
who's going to tell her where the scientist is.
I
Right.
always forget both their names, so doesn't matter.
So Rogue then hunts down and goes to New Mexico. While she's in New Mexico, the X-Men have a well. Cyclops has a very heated discussion with President Kelly, which I was not prepared for. In the sense of like being like, we need help. And he's like, well, I can't pick sides. And he's like, really? You know what? We're done with this conversation. Don't ask the X Men for help next time America's in trouble. Click.
I liked the passion because it makes sense because it's like you were here defending us and now all of a sudden you're backing away. It's
And his excuse gets me. I'm making sure I stay in office so somebody who's less favorable doesn't get in office. And I'm like, that's such a politician answer.
yep.
Such a politician answer. I hate how accurate it is.
It
I'll
was
say that.
so accurate and it's
It
disgusting.
it was really accurate. It was depressing. So the X Men then go to Genosha trying to find any help. And I actually was mistaken. Rogue did not go to New Mexico yet. She goes somewhere else in like the wilderness slash cold. Um, and she breaks into this building. Actually, before she does, there's a shield that gets thrown in front of her. And whose shield is it, my friends? Well, it's something with the stars and stripes, which is none other than Captain America. Yeah, so Captain America shows her the base and everything else, and basically stating how he knows where the guy is and he's in New Mexico. And she's like, "Great, we'll go." He goes, "No, we need a team and everything else." She goes, "No, we're going now." He goes, "If I go at scene working with you, what do you think that picture shows?" And not gonna lie to you, I was not prepared for Captain America to say that. Um,
I've been seeing a lot of things on Twitter for this scene as well. Is like the MCU Captain America would have never questioned Rogue and would have dropped everything to go with her to help prove her right. He wouldn't be saying like, "Oh, we got to wait for all the things to line up properly." He would just do it instantly.
but we're also assuming that it's Steve Rogers as well.
Okay, okay, that's fair.
And again, I'm not stating it isn't, or you know what I'm saying. I'm just saying we just know him as Captain America. We don't know who's got the mantle at this point.
They never said
We're
who they in the original animated series. They never said who it was, right?
well, he was only in
He was in
the
one
Spider
episode.
Man.
He was in one episode.
No, it was Steve Rogers. They said it.
So then this is Steve Rogers.
I don't know if we know that because remember that when we saw him, he was in World War II. It was not. We never saw him in the present.
We didn't.
No, we never saw him in the present. In that episode that you're talking about,
Yeah.
Wolverine goes to the grave, right? Remember? And
Yeah.
then he sees all his old war buddies, but he never sees Captain America again. Because that was one of the lines he said. I never saw him again.
Oh, so it was a flashback.
It was a flashback of him in World War II. So what I'm getting at is we know that one was Steve Rogers, but we don't know if this one is Steve Rogers. I know we're assuming so for obvious reasons. I'm just stating that there's the potential that it might not be.
No, okay, I understand. I just didn't remember that it was when we saw Captain America in the original series, it was a flashback. I thought it
It
was.
was a flashback, yeah. So anyway, there's a little bit of debate. So he's like, all right, then we need to wait and everything else. She goes, well, if we're waiting, or I forgot how she said it. It was like something along the lines of we don't need to go yet, or we don't want to waste time, or something like that, or we don't want to rush into things. And she was like, well, if you don't want to rush into things, then you don't need the shield. And she tosses it like an Olympian at the disc toss, and that thing goes right into the mountain. And then she just up and leaves and goes to New Mexico.
Yeah, like I said, it was just crazy that Captain America said that we gotta wait. Just very much out of character.
But that's what makes me think it's not Steve Rogers.
Yeah. No, you're
Um,
right with that now. Like it makes sense why you're saying that.
One more time.
It makes sense why you're saying that.
Because at this time, it actually, so it's the 90s, right? So in the 90s, this could potentially be U.S. agent before becoming U.S. agent. Because we don't see any physical strength. You know what I'm saying? We don't with this Captain America. We don't see any actual like physical feats.
I mean, they just didn't show anything. So I
No,
mean,
but what I'm saying is, like, granted, U.S. agent does eventually get the serum and everything else. But what I'm getting at is this might not be obviously Steve Rogers. So anyway, she does that and she flies away. So then we go to Genosha, all right? And Beast was so depressing,
oh God,
right? Oh,
God,
when he was talking to that reporter, man, and he was basically stating that the human race are an awful group of people, I was just like, no, Beast is like one of the few people who's like pro-human, like who's never not pro-human. Like he's
he
dealt with so much stuff, and he's never been anti-human. And I'm like, oh no, they broke Beast.
it got to the point that even Beast couldn't defend it.
I
Like
know, and it's just so sad. I also really sad about the monuments that they made, where they got Magneto and Xavier's heads together. That was just depressing.
like I said, when you asked at the beginning about Bad Batch versus X Men, it's like X Men is just. It feels like they're doing it to prove a point that like we're back
They're
and
the
we're
best.
go like this is
Like
this.
X Men were never gone. We're always great, and you know what? They're not wrong. Um, so anyway, we have Jean Grey and Cyclops going through the rubble, and they find somebody. And you know who that person was, Mike?
I'm gonna forget her name. Not
No,
Frost.
no, yeah, yeah. No, I'll give
Frost.
it to you. Emma Frost.
Emma Frost. See, like I want to. I knew you were ragging on me a couple weeks ago because I was saying Killer Frost instead.
But I understand the vibe. The vibe is there because we get to see that her second mutation was unlocked.
Mm-hmm.
So there are actually I don't even know how many mutants. I only know of I only know for a fact there are two mutants. There are definitely more, but like I only know for a fact there are two mutants that have a submutation, meaning like they have a second mutation. So Emma
Mm.
Frost is a telepath, a very powerful one, and then her second mutation actually is the fact that she can make her skin as hard as diamonds. Gambit is the other one. Gambit has the ability to use kinetic energy and everything else. His second one, as weird as it sounds, is his ability to manipulate. Like he could basically, it's basically his like pheromones to get people to like him.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's unclear if he can fully control it or not, but it's actually a sub mutation for him.
hmm. Okay,
But not, yeah, I know. It's a
interesting.
weird, yeah, no, 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 I know. I looked it up. Like I was like, because I was curious. So I know there's a few others that have multiple mutations and stuff like that. But like the difference is, like when you first have your mutation, that's all your abilities. There are very few instances where a mutant can go through a second mutation,
Mm.
like where the powers are like different. Emma Frost can't use her psychic abilities, supposedly, when she uses her hard skin.
She's more on the defensive than the offensive in that case, so it makes sense.
Correct. And it's supposed to block telepathic abilities too, which obviously in this case it did not. Um,
Hmm.
but that's debatable
Yeah.
because I don't think they knew who it was, so it was technically in a way blocking her.
They just sensed the presence. They couldn't.
Yeah, so that makes me think that it does block her, but not enough to like it block her enough that you can't read her thoughts, but not enough to necessarily not know she's not there. Like
Yeah.
she can't go invisible. So anyway, she comes back, and do you know why this instance is important? The reason why it's important, Mike, is because she was literally crushed under rubble. And what happens when you use pressure on coal?
Turns to diamond.
And what is her skin as hard as, Michael?
Is it diamond?
That may be accurate. And it also is supposed to look like diamonds too, which I never understood that point. I thought it was just the fact that her skin just turns hard, but apparently it also makes it shiny. Um, so anyway, we have that, and then they then get a message from the head scientist that created the master mold, basically stating how he needs help and that not Doctor Strange, Mr. Sinister um, was the one behind everything, and he was so sorry, and he just wants everyone to like just hear him out and go back to his lair and everything else. So during all this, we've been seeing a lot of letters called OZT. And do you know what OZT stands for?
I do not.
Operation Zero Tolerance. And it's basically zero tolerance on mutations and mutants in general.
Would have never guessed.
I know it's very self explanatory. Um, so, anyway, we then have Rogue absorb the other guy, the one that the Trask, I believe is his name.
I'm going to side with you on that.
Okay. And she's pissed off that he's in a basically not a prison, but a luxury hotel. And she takes out all the men with these and starts wanting information out of him. And he's like, I'm not telling you anything. She goes, oh, no, I've been doing this all day. You're going to tell me whether you want to or not. And then what's weird is she blacks out and wakes up next to Nightcrawler. And then the whole X-Men group are together to go into where the head scientist is.
Yeah, that really threw me for a loop.
So the only thing that makes sense to me was she absorbed his memories, and because of that, it was too much for her and emotionally and everything else because she was using her power too much. Sometimes what happens is when she absorbs too much power or too much memories, it not necessarily makes her go crazy, although it has in the past. It makes her like black out, but
It
like her body
overloads her.
still moves. So I'm assuming she got the location and flew towards it, but then didn't completely make it. And that's when the X Men found her, and then they all went in together. And we find out that we go to this secret lair and everything else. All the guards are knocked out. They're all OZT. We find the scientists surrounding by very high tech cybernetics, I'll tell you. Um, and he's ready to jump off the building to kill himself. Rogue stops him from and grabs him and says, "We need to know more information from you." He goes, "I've given you all the information already." And she goes, "Good," and drops him.
Crossing that line.
Yeah, but he didn't die. And we get to see our first instance of a Prime Sentinel. Do you know what a Prime Sentinel is?
The elite I'm Sentinel, that is like the at the final stage where it's like the one that we saw in the movie where it had like full immunity um to the mutants, where it can counter every mutant.
Kind of, sort of. I'll give it to you. More so the fact that it's actually splicing human DNA with Sentinel protocol.
Oh, okay.
So it's actually a human Sentinel hybrid that creates a very powerful being. Now, I will tell you that you're not wrong in the sense of they're going to try to get to a point where they fuse mutants with Sentinels to hunt down other mutants, but we're not there yet. So,
Almost.
I'll say this, that we're a lot closer than we thought. We're at human Sentinels. We're eventually going to get to mutant Sentinels. But anyway, Prime Sentinel takes out Rogue in one shot.
Mm-hmm.
And then the X-Men, first off, we see Jean Grey go ham. We see Cyclops. We see a lot of things. right? We see Morph turn into Quicksilver trying to beat the guy down. He gets blasted away. He
I
gets blasted so bad that his head like swirls around.
I was so confused at first. I was like, where did Quicksilver come from? And then I was like, wait, Morph. That's right. It's just like, and when like, it happened a couple times where I'm like, where did this character come? Wait, there's
Yeah.
Morph.
So Morph gets blasted away. We see everyone else pretty much get blasted away as well. We see a big fight between Cyclops, Jean Grey, and the creature, the Prime Sentinel. And that's when the two of them are basically getting beat up, and then all of a sudden a EMP grenade goes off, and it fries his circuits. And who is it? None other than Cable coming to save the day,
Coming to save
stating,
mom and dad.
"Well, no, it's not Mom.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Mom's dead."
You're right.
Because he makes a point to say, "You're not my mom."
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, he
and
does.
You're not my mother. Stay out of my head. And Cyclops realizes that it's his son. They get all excited, and he explains that they're going to need to team up to stop this Prime Sentinel project, basically. And we get to find out who's behind everything. So, do you know who the main bad guy is?
Like that guy. Do I know who that guy is?
Yeah.
Bastion.
Yeah.
I mean, I
All right.
don't
Do you know
know.
who Bastion is?
I do not.
Okay, we'll talk about him.
Yeah.
So anyway, Bastion kills the Trask. He chokes him to death. He then speaks to Mr. Sinister, who Mr. Sinister's like, "How come you released one of them too early? We weren't prepared. We would have taken out more." He goes, "The point was made. The Prime Sentinels will be able to defeat the X-Men." Right? Basically, very cocky. Um, we then see him again with somebody we were not expecting to see.
I certainly was not expecting it.
We get to see Magneto chained up with a collar on, and he's getting a close shave on his face. And I don't know what the plan is, but I have a feeling they're going to be trying to fuse Magneto with the Sentinel Project.
That will be one very powerful creature.
So, Bastion is basically what you would think of as a combination of Master Mold and Nimrod together.
Like character wise,
Ability wise, he can manipulate, control Sentinels without a problem.
okay.
And supposedly he has regenerative abilities similar to Nimrod. Um, he is not as human as he looks.
Okay.
I'll say that. In fact, I had it up and I had to take it off because I was having internet issues when I looked it up. But so Bastion is basically, like I said, he's a villain who blends Master Mold and Nimrod together. Um, an endless adaptable. He's basically an endlessly adaptable Sentinel from the future. So he is basically that. After Master Mold absorbed Nimrod and was pushed through a mystical portal called the Siege Perlalis, or whatever you want to call it, Bastion emerged on the other side with a human appearance. So
Okay.
he's quite literally a fusion of Nimrod and Master Mold. And so he's trying to create a Sentinel world where mutants don't exist and he's in charge.
Mhm.
Plot twist: Bastion has worked alongside Apocalypse before, so he might not necessarily be the main bad guy. But that is who Bastion is. I
Okay.
honestly thought he was a more human character than he actually was. I did know like he controlled the Sentinels and stuff like that. I just didn't realize he was legitimately a fusion of Master Mold and Nimrod together. And he's the main bad guy, at least as of right now.
I was about to say, as of right now.
As of episode 7. And he had the best entrance in my like the best like basically being like badass. Like I control Mr. Sinister, I control the Sentinels, and I own Magneto as a pet.
They made sure to make him seem like a big deal.
And he is a big deal.
Hmm.
He is basically that Prime guy, the Prime Sentinel we saw, is weaker than him.
I could imagine that.
which you would figured as much anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're gonna be seeing a lot of that. So overall, this episode was phenomenal. The next three episodes and the final three episodes are all like three parters. They're 3-part episode.
Oh, so it's like one continuing to the other.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like the brink of the extinction part one, the
Part
brink of
two,
extinction part two, and then obviously the third.
exciting. I can't wait for the cliffhangers.
Oh, it's gonna be a lot, and I'm expecting it, and I'm prepared.
You're prepared to be
Uh,
mad.
I'm prepared to be very much breaking my TV. So, I mean, anything else you want to talk about this episode? I thought this was phenomenal. We get
No.
to see Rogue's full on ability. We also not only see how powerful she is, but how powerful a Prime Sentinel is because they one shot her.
Mm-hmm. No, they did. This episode was a good follow up episode that we finally got. The aftermath of everything that happened and how people are trying to cope with what happened.
Cope
Then
is a strong
obviously,
word, but yes.
huh?
I say cope is a strong word, but yes.
No, I mean,
No, I know, but I mean, like, I wouldn't call what they're doing coping. They're smashing stuff.
some are trying to cope, some are smashing, some are killing,
And
um,
some are throwing frisbees.
some are throwing frisbees. But yeah, no, it was a great episode. Like I said, these episodes are not missing. I
No,
mean,
not even a little.
I'm interested to see how Xavier and Storm are going to be brought back into this, and how there's like obviously Storm can just come back in, but it's going to be interesting seeing Xavier come back after being gone for a year and being pronounced as dead. Um, so that'll be an interesting twist, and
Well, it
seeing,
wasn't so much that he was pronounced dead. It was more the fact that they thought he couldn't come back because he'd have to stay there permanently for treatment.
well, the world thinks he's dead.
No, well, yeah, but the X-Men, I'm talking about more.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, obviously the X-Men know he's alive, or so they hope. But I
Well,
mean,
their hope is right.
to the rest of the world, he's been declared dead. So
Correct.
when he comes back and he's not dead, it's going to cause some kind of issue. Um,
Yeah, because the Prime Sentinel blowing up a major city isn't going to be a major problem.
no,
Oh, you know what? We might get to see Cable in the opening credits now.
oh yeah, that's true.
That's a
He's a
possibility.
part of the team at the moment, so yeah, that would work.
There's a spot missing.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, overall, phenomenal episode. We got 3 left. Cannot wait. I mean, they're gonna be good, and they're only gonna continue to get better. Is my assumption.
These, because this is a 3-part episode, it's just going to build on the previous one.
I think the first one, like comparatively to the 3, because I'm not gonna say that it's weak. I'm gonna say comparatively to the 3 next episodes, it's gonna be the lowest. Then it's just gonna keep getting higher and higher, and then
Either
climax at the
yeah, either that or the first episode is going to be really big. The second episode is going to be kind of like lower because they're rebuilding. Like let's say
that could be
like
it too. That could be it too.
yeah, and
You're right.
then the last one will be like out of this
Crying.
world.
Basically. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, Mike, we have a character spotlight from you. What holiday's coming up that you're doing character spotlight on?
It's not a holiday. We are not talking about a holiday. In
Sweetheart.
what? What do you think? What do you think?
I actually don't know. I feel like it's something about the month, and I'm going to be mad.
No, no, you would be wrong.
Okay, good.
Instead, I'm going to be making fun of one of your characters. Uh the face of confusion.
Continue. I'm curious.
So, his name, he's a relatively new character. His name is Wayne Wilkins, otherwise known as Red Tool. Now, Red Tool is DC's version of a parody of Deadpool. So, this character has is he has an obsession with a certain character. He has an obsession with Harley Quinn.
Why am I not surprised? Continue. Sorry, continue. I'm interrupting. I apologize.
So Let me see what. The fact that you had the shirt on when you logged on, I was like, "This is perfect." We're talking about Deadpool and Wolverine. We're talking about you got your comic character. So Red Tool first appears in Harley Quinn Volume 2, Issue Number 3, as an innocent salesman at the generic hardware store We Be Tools. Wayne Wilkins just happened to be on duty when a lovesick mob chases Harley Quinn into We Be Tools, forcing her to fight her way out using a weed whacker. Wilkins gets caught up in all of the ruckus and ends up being beaten and maimed by the feral crowd. In this, he ends up losing his arm. 23 issues later, we finally catch up to poor Wayne Wilson, healing from his injuries at a local hospital. Head trauma from the incident has left him slightly off, and extensive nerve damage has left him unable to feel pain. After escaping from the hospital, Wayne returns to his home and immediately throws open his tool shed. And at that moment, he yells, "I love tools." And that is when his alternate persona of Red Tool is born. Now, eventually, Red Tool kidnaps Harley Quinn. And while she is at a roller derby, he uses knockout gas and is able to kidnap her. While she was unconscious, he takes her up to a top of a Ferris wheel and tries to show her an animated video of his origin story.
Oh God, I can
Um,
only imagine.
Unfortunately for him, he forgot to charge his phone, so he ended up just having to explain it to her instead. She eventually escapes from captivity, but while after she escapes, she realizes that he drew a and red hammer and put his phone number on her ass while she was knocked out.
Oh, that's that. I've just found the character. If I ever become an actor, man, I found my character.
So the phone number actually ends up playing a message to her, telling her to meet him at a local church where he has a bunch of kidnapped people, um, where they could be witness to their marriage. Um, Eventually, there's a bunch of back and forth. They fight, whatever. Sometime later, Harley ends up warming up to him. He
Of
ends up
course.
she ends up liking him. She likes the attention, and to this day, they are actually pretty good friends, and they team up every once in a while.
I can't. I'm not. The worst part out of this whole thing is I'm not even surprised.
Not even a little bit. Um, so, in general, Wayne Wilkins is a stalker who's just wanted to marry Harley Quinn. He's followed her life for quite some time and was very aware of the Joker and wanted to help Harley with her Joker problem. Um, but now, powers and abilities. He has cybernetic enhancements, like I said. In the mom, he lost his arm, so in that case, they replaced it with a bionic prosthetic. He has superhuman durability because of after the surgery, he does not feel pain, so he can suffer more than normal people. Um, he has basic hand-to-hand combat. He is an artist.
Ugh.
He is a great tattoo artist. He's a graphic designer, and he loves to draw.
But he
He,
didn't tattoo his number on her butt.
he he's a musician. He is pretty skilled with some weapons, although his preferred weapons are instead of the um,
Katanas.
the katanas of Deadpool. He prefers screwdrivers and hammers and those kind of things, basic tools. He really likes to throw them though, you know, those throwing hammers. He is mechanically aptitude, which means he is very handy around the house. um, he's very he's I mean he has some good surveillance skills, seeing that he was able to follow Harley for a number of years and end up kidnapping her eventually.
I mean,
Um,
hey, love is
and,
love.
and he's a master diver. But apparently, in some issues, he did end up dying at one point, but apparently, like down the road, he did survive. Yes,
When you say he dives, I, I'm assuming that means in water.
I would assume so as well.
So is his cybernetics not affected by water?
I am assuming no.
Okay.
I mean, it would be really dumb if he.
No, it'd be hilarious. It'd be
I mean,
hilarious.
it would fit the character, to be honest. But
But I agree with you. Sorry, continue.
oh yeah, no, I was just going through some random characters, and I was like, I there's got to be tons of spoof characters from DC because Marvel has a ton of spoof of DC. So I'm like, oh, what are some vice versas? And I saw this, and I'm like, this would be perfect for this week.
Actually, it was. I'm actually giving you a lot of credit. That was actually very good. It kept my interest, which is not easy to do,
No,
and I'm very proud of you. So that, my friends, is actually the end. So if you made it this far, we'd very much appreciate a like and subscribe down below. This episode is doing much better than all the others we've done so far. So please make sure you subscribe so you can keep track of all our new episodes coming out. Spoiler alert, comes out once a week. Anyway, other than that, thank you, everyone. This is going to be Scott and Mike signing out of the Black Eel Podcast. Have a great night.